Let's talk about how to create dynamics using your bow. 3 things that are important: speed, weight, and placement. With the speed, the faster you move your bow, the louder it gets. Okay. Number 2 would be the weight. Okay. As far as the weight, more weight means more sound, less weight means less sound. Notice I kept the speed the same, but the dynamic level changed with the more weight or the less weight. Okay. Number 3 is placement. Now, placement actually has to do with 2 different things. Placement as far as where you are on the bow, and then where you are on the instrument itself. So let's first talk about where you are in the bow. Here, this also has to do with weight, actually. If you are in the lower half of the bow, it's going to create more sound because you have more weight. Whereas if you're in the upper half of the bow, this is going to be less weight and less sound. Okay? So here, I'm just going to naturally have a lot more weight. Here, I will not. Okay? And then as far as placement is concerned, the closer you get to the bridge, the louder it gets. The closer you are to the fingerboard, the softer it gets. So notice, again, I'm going to try and keep everything else the same, the speed, the weight, but just the placement here is going to make a big difference. Now, I do actually have to make some subtle changes depending on where I am on the instrument, because if I use the same weight here that I do here, notice how I get that weird sort of whispery, overtony kind of sound. So when you're closer to the bridge, you do need to use a little bit more weight to counteract that. Whereas when you're over here, you do want to use a lot less weight. Now, some people might ask, oh, okay, should I actually play over the fingerboard to get really soft? Yes, you can. I wouldn't recommend it if you're playing solo pieces. If your conductor asks you to play over the fingerboard, or the music itself says sol tasto and you should play over the fingerboard, by all means go ahead and do that. And then you should definitely, when you're playing over the fingerboard, use the upper half of the bow, usually towards the tip, because that's the kind of effect that we really want. You would never ever play over the fingerboard over by the front. Like, that doesn't even work. So in the same way that you wouldn't really use sol ponticello over by the tip very much, because the whole goal is to really try and get a lot more sound. So again, speed, weight, bow placement, and then placement on the instrument. Those 4 things working in combination and making the adjustments as needed are going to be able to make you be able to create the dynamics that you want to make your music come alive.